What's up, Fit Rich fam? It's your host, Justin David Carl, aka Dragon. So I got to tell you a true story here. So for the last, hour and last few days, I've been procrastinating on recording this solo episode. So this will be solo episode number 3. And this just goes to show you that even after an entire year of podcasting and doing a couple shows by myself, there is still fear. And when faced with fear, I often will avoid and procrastinate. So I was even about to just go take an ice bath and do this another day, claiming to myself that, I don't want to overdo myself. I'm on vacation and I should be resting. And ultimately, I decided that I love podcasting and it is a creative act that really is empowering for both myself in the creation of it and for others. And I'm committed to my mission, which is to empower people to proactively design and truly live a life worth living. And discipline is one of my top personal values, coupled with freedom, another one of my top personal values. And those seemingly don't go together, but in a sense they do, because the more disciplined I am in my life, especially when it comes to my creative work, the more free that I feel. And this is related to a term in yogic philosophy called moksha. And basically, let's see if I can actually remember the term here. It is essentially similar to what Jocko Willink says, like discipline equals freedom. And the moksha principle is freedom through constraint. So myself, I actually feel more free when I create healthy constraints around myself, like creating a weekly podcast or writing every day, or, moving my body every day, whether that's, weightlifting, strength training, or just an active recovery day where I'm doing light cardio, foam rolling, etc. So I just want to give you guys an update. I apologize. This podcast is probably going to come out a little late, or I might even bypass the week because I am on vacation, and it is high time for me to build back up my podcasting bank, as I talked about in episode 57, where I reflected on 1 year of podcasting. One of the key things to consistency in podcasting is building up a recording bank. And I've been resisting doing these solo episodes, which is a really easy way for me to build up a huge bank. Yep. So that's what I'm doing here. And I just got back from my anniversary vacation, my 2-year anniversary vacation in San Luis Obispo, Avila Beach, Pismo Beach, and Morro Bay, all places in Northern California. And me and the wife had a super great time. And I wanted to share a key thing that we do, a tradition in our family that we have now done each year for the last 2 years, and that is renewing our vows. So after our first year of marriage, we went to Mount Shasta, which is also in California, very magical place, and we renewed our vows under a waterfall, at a waterfall called Fairy Falls. And it was just so magical and so special. And this was my wife's idea, not my idea. I know you may have thought that I came up with this idea, but this was actually my wife's idea, to renew our vows each and every single year, to recommit each year to our marriage, to our relationship. And it's also an opportunity for us to reflect on the last year of marriage, what went well, what we should do more of, what things need to evolve, and if there's anything missing. We use this as an opportunity to review our vows and make any updates as we see fit. And we just choose a beautiful place in nature. Year 1, we did Mount Shasta, Fairy Falls. It was very beautiful. And this year, we actually did it at our Airbnb in San Luis Obispo, because our Airbnb was like super beautiful, custom built home, and tons of nature. It was like deep in nature, and we just filmed in front of the house. And yes, we always film our wedding vows, and sometimes it's just for us as a keepsake to remember, and sometimes we share this with close friends and family, and I'm sure at some point we may even put some of it up on social media, but that is to be determined. So ultimately, I want to encourage everybody who's married to consider renewing your vows. Even if you've been married for many, many years and this isn't a tradition, that doesn't mean you can't start this tradition this year. And it is just an incredible act of both love and commitment. And it's just an opportunity for you and your significant other to really reflect where you've been and where you're at and where you want to go in the coming years. So, one of the key things that I think is really important is taking time away from work and regular life so that you have the time and space to reflect and think about the last year of marriage, where you're at and where you want to go. So that way, as you renew and update your vows, you are heading in the direction that you want to go. So we are big nature people. We got married on top of a mountain in the Olympic National Forest in the Squim and Port Angeles area where I grew up, and it was like stunningly epic, like 360-degree view of the mountains, the Pacific Ocean, and it was truly a dream wedding come true. And so then after year one of marriage, we went to Mount Shasta, which is also a very magical place that we've been wanting to go to. And we renewed our vows, as I said, at Fairy Falls underneath the waterfall. And it was just the two of us. We put our phone on a tripod and hit record and said our vows to one another. And it was super magical. And then this year we did a similar thing where we, set up a phone. We actually set up a couple cameras because we're getting pretty into videography these days. So we set up one of our mirrorless cameras, my Sony camera, and then my wife also set up her Canon, and then we also filmed on an iPhone, just so that we have multiple shots. Now, if you are considering doing this yourself, just buy yourself a handy dandy little iPhone or smartphone tripod, and you can film yourself on that. Or you don't even have to film yourself, right? You could just take a picture in the place that you're renewing your vows and keep that as a keepsake. But I think it is valuable to record your vow renewal in a way that allows you to keep it as a keepsake for the years to come. Because I'm just thinking, like 20 years in the future, if I could like look back over the last 20 years of renewing our vows, like how special and meaningful and how much deepness that's going to bring to our relationship. So, as I implored you earlier, I highly encourage you to renew your vows this year. Surprise your significant other with the idea. You don't even have to tell them you got it from me, and you can make it totally special for you. You don't have to do it in any way similar to me and my wife. You can make it all your own and all your own style and in a way that really fits for you. So essentially, we did that. It was really, really special. And I'll just say, like, even 2 years in, there were parts of the marriage. We decided that our marriage and our relationship is actually getting better and better every year. And I think the reason behind that is because both my wife, the Phoenix, aka Carly Lynn Wise, and we both do a lot of personal development, self improvement work. We work with coaches and therapists, and we're constantly reading And we also have our own coaching practices. So we're learning from the clients that we work with as well. And because of all that deep work that we do, it makes us constantly improve. And as we improve individually, as we develop, as we learn, heal, grow, transform, and transcend individually, we also learn, heal, grow, transform, and transcend together. So that's another tip for all of you, is make sure you're doing the work, your own work. You don't necessarily have to go to couples therapy. That is totally valuable and worthwhile pursuit. My wife and I have done plenty of couples therapy. We actually planned our dream wedding in a couples therapy session and created the vision for it, and it manifested in physical reality. So that is one of the most incredible ways to really just, take your relationship to the next level, is to work with a professional. But that also does not mean that you shouldn't be individually doing the work. Let's say your significant other, your partner, is not interested in couples therapy. That does not mean that you shouldn't go seek out therapy or coaching or do workshops on your own, because sometimes it takes one partner doing the work for the other partner to see that, hey, I should probably start doing the work too. And even if they don't ever do any of the work, but one partner is doing the work of that learning, healing, growing, and transforming, their relationship will improve. So, that is another kind of key takeaway to this particular podcast episode, is really make sure that you personally, you that is listening to this episode right now, are doing the work, that you're getting coaching, that you're getting therapy, you're getting the help that you need to get to the next level of your life, whether that's in your relationship, in your work, your career, your money, your fitness, your health, your spirituality, wherever. Humans were designed to do this thing called life together, not in isolation. So we heal together, we learn together, we grow together, we transform together, and we transcend together. So this is my call to action for you, to make sure that you're doing the work. And I really do believe in books and reading and that type of self-learning, but I also am a huge believer in the experiential learning that you get through both coaching, therapy, and doing various types of like workshops or mastermind groups. So, books are great, but I know a lot of people who read a lot of books and it's kind of like mental masturbation. They just read the books and don't actually do any of the exercises in the book. I used to be one of those people, actually, till my wife called me out and said, "Hey, why aren't you doing the exercises?" And she was one of those people who did every single exercise in the book. But even if you are reading books and doing the exercises, it's just a whole nother level when you get coaching, therapy, do a workshop, etc. Because there is this incredible container created between yourself and with either the coach or the therapist or the group or the workshop group or the mastermind group, where you will learn, heal, grow, transform, transcend in many, many, many ways that cannot happen in like solo learning through just reading a book. So highly encourage you, whether you work with me or my wife or somebody else. Literally, coaching transformed my life, transformed my wife's life. Therapy transformed our lives. Doing workshops transformed our life. And you all know, Fit Rich Life is all about doing the work. So, couple things there for you. Consider renewing your vows. Make sure that you're doing the work. And then the next piece of this episode that I wanted to dive into was tips, tools, and strategies for staying fit or even getting more fit or fitter during vacation and travel. So, a lot of people, I would say a majority of people, tend to destroy their fitness when they go on vacation. They drink too much, eat too much, don't exercise enough, and they just kind of like go off the rails. And I used to be one of these people for sure. But then I decided a few years ago that I was going to change my belief around travel, vacation, and fitness. And my new belief was going to be and is that I get more fit when I travel and go on vacation. And everything starts with belief, because if you believe you are going to destroy your fitness when you travel, you will. If you believe that you are going to get more fit when you travel, you will. So it all starts with your belief and your mindset. Do you have a limiting belief that you destroy your fitness, or do you have an empowering belief that you get more fit when you travel? So let's make it more tangible. Let me give you some actionable insight that you can use on your next trip to get even more fit, to take your fitness to the next level on that next vacation. So these are all things that I do in order to build upon my fitness and get to the next level of my fitness, using travel and vacation as an excuse to get to that next level. So, number one thing that I will do is I will fast until lunch or dinner. So sometimes that means one meal a day or two meals a day. The fewer opportunities you give yourself to overindulge, the better you will do. Plus, if you're only eating 1 to 2 meals out, you will savor each one more, right? So, scarcity, the less you have something, the less you eat out, the more you're going to enjoy each time you eat out. If you eat out every single day, all 3 meals, by the time you get back from the trip, more than half of those meals you're probably not even going to remember. So that is tip number one, is utilizing fasting. So fasting is just a tool in your Fit Rich Life toolkit. It is not the answer, end all, be all for fitness. So I tend to do intermittent fasting 80 to 90% of the year, but there are plenty of days where I realize and recognize that I need to eat almost immediately upon waking up or immediately after my workout. And I will. So there's a contrast between having rules and guidelines to really empower your fitness, but also using your intuition, listening to your body, and ensuring that you are balancing those two in an appropriate way that really gives you a life that you love, a fit, rich life style that you can live day in, day out, month over month, year over year, and one that just empowers you to get more and more fit. So that's tool number one. Tool or strategy or tip number two is to eat a small, healthy, fiber rich, low calorie snack before you eat out. So examples would include baby carrots, chopped up fresh zucchini, celery, cucumbers, bell peppers, etc. So by doing this, like literally like two big, fairly sizable zucchinis are probably only about 40 to 75 calories. That's it, but it's packed with fiber. And you can chop them up and put ground pink salt, Himalayan pink salt on top with pepper and maybe even some nutritional yeast, aka nooch, aka vegan fairy dust, to make it cheesy, salty, and peppery. And this is like delicious. And it doesn't have to be, you don't have to eat zucchini like straight raw by itself, which I will admit I do, because I'm a total weirdo and I just eat it like a freaking banana sometimes. But most of the time I chop it up and I put that Himalayan pink salt on it along with pepper and nutritional yeast, and it's just super delicious. So I will have that on the way or before we leave the Airbnb or the hotel to the meal, so that by the time that I order and actually get my meal, my stomach is already signaling to my brain that I'm starting to get full. So this way I don't order and attempt to eat the entire menu. So I am or can be a bit of a glutton. Now I realize that is a limiting belief, but in my past, I was a total glutton and I would just go ham and eat everything. And this is actually, part of my story with my own fitness journey was I would eat perfectly clean 6 days a week, and then I'd have one cheat day. And literally on that cheat day, I would go bananas. I would eat an entire pizza. I would have burgers. I'd eat like an entire jar of nut butter. I would eat popsicles and ice cream. And ultimately, I destroyed all the work that I'd done in those previous days of quote unquote clean eating. And I, thought that, hey, if I'm eating clean 6 days a week and then one day a week, I go crazy and have my cheat day, like that's the way to do it. And I couldn't figure out why I could never get a six pack. Then I started working with an online fitness coach. He had me track my food, and I realized that on a cheat day, I could easily eat 5,000 to over 10,000 calories in a day. So basically, all that, calorie deficit that I created on those other days where I was eating clean was completely destroyed, ameliorated, I think is the word I'm looking for. And yeah, I didn't have the body that I wanted. So, this strategy by having a small, healthy, fiber rich, low calorie snack before you eat out will signal to your stomach, or your stomach will signal to your brain that, hey, you're starting to feel like more full. Maybe not like completely satiated, but that like you're not starving. So, you can order a few things off the menu, really enjoy them, take your time, eat them, savor them, take pictures, take videos, and just really take in the food and not go too crazy. So that is strategy number 2. Number 3 is consider staying in an Airbnb or getting a hotel with a kitchen. This way you can eat one meal out each day and cook one meal at home each day. The reason this is super powerful is because, again, the more frequently you eat out, the more opportunity there is to overindulge. Whereas usually most people, when they cook at home, they eat healthier. They just naturally eat healthier. Most people, not everybody, but most people. So there is also an opportunity if you're traveling to a new region that has a new type of food that you normally don't consume, you can actually use this opportunity to learn how to cook those types of foods or season with those types of seasons that they use in that particular region. And this can be an adventure in itself. So whenever my wife and I travel, we always get an Airbnb because we love to shop at the local grocery stores and just expand our own cooking. And that becomes an adventure in itself. And then we pair this with exploring all the awesome restaurants that we want to check out. We just tend to only eat out about once a day, and we'll eat in once a day. Now, occasionally I will do one big meal out, and that will be my only meal for the day. That is OMAD, one meal a day. So that is another strategy. That's kind of like a strategy within strategy number 1 is OMAD, one meal a day. So you can literally just fast until lunch or dinner, have that one meal, and that be the only meal that you have. That's actually what I did yesterday. So, and we ordered 4 different plates, which was awesome. So I have a really big appetite. I can eat a large amount of food in one sitting. And by training my metabolic flexibility, my ability to fast for long periods of time, or to have a meal, say at 12, 1, 2, or 3, and then not eat again until the next day, I am able to be metabolically flexible in my eating, and I could take advantage of doing things like one meal a day, having like an epic 4 entree meal, and still stay sub 10% body fat, still stay super fit, still get to enjoy the delicious restaurant, try 4 different things or more off the menu. And it's just like an experience I'll never, ever forget. So back to number 3. It is really can be an awesome, empowering, fun experience to actually cook at an Airbnb in another city, town, country, etc. So consider that as a way for you to really expand your fit rich life is learn to cook with the local flavors and the local influences at your Airbnb or hotel kitchen, and then by all means go out and enjoy those delicious restaurants that are also an adventure in themselves. So following this tip, number 4, this is a tool and it is the postprandial walk. Walk after each meal you eat as a way to burn extra calories, take in more of the area that you're in, and improve your digestion. So this is a really great thing to do even when you're at home, is to just take a 5 to 10 minute walk after you eat. This is another kind of like secret strategy to staying super fit year round, is just walking after every meal. And this is really cool to do this after a meal when you're on vacation, because it is an excuse to explore a new region. So one of the things that makes life super rich, super memorable, a life well lived, is novelty. And when you go walk around in an area, in a city, in a town that you've never been, it is just lighting your brain on fire. And it's just amazing. And that sense of novelty, that newness, will create happiness dividends in the form of memories for years to come. So that is another tool that you can use, is to walk after each meal. Number 5, this is probably my personal favorite one, and that is explore new gyms during travel and treat them like an amusement park, and treat the guest pass costs as the admission ticket to enjoy all the rides. So I am so simple in my fit rich life. If I literally just travel to another part of the world, even if it's in the same state, and I go visit new gyms, already the trip is incredible to me. There's just, like I was talking about before, that novelty, going to a new place, just lighting my brain and my senses on fire. That makes a super rich life to me. So I love to go explore all the gyms. Literally in the San Luis Obispo County area, I went to, let me see if I can list them out. I went to Headstrong Gym, great fucking gym, really fucking awesome. CrossFit gym with all sorts of like incredible arsenal equipment, huge outdoor area. Oh my god, I give it a 10 out of 10, and I even get an 11 out of 10 because it had a recovery room that had an ice bath at 38 degrees, which is cold as fuck, way colder than my poor man's cold plunge that I have at my house, and infrared sauna, as well as those recovery chairs where you like put the things of your legs and it does compression and stuff. So that Headstrong was absolutely amazing. I also went to Club 24, which is just a really beautiful, well put together gym. So highly recommend that. And then I also visited another gym. It was Anytime Fitness in Morro Bay. So I went to 3 different gyms during my stay there, and I will never forget them. It was just so much fun. So that is another way. Those are great gyms for you to check out if you ever go to San Luis Obispo area. That was Headstrong, Club 24, and Anytime Fitness. Now there was other gyms that I didn't get to. These ones kind of just really hit the sweet spot for me, and they worked for me. So that's where I went. So that is tip number 5 is explore new gyms while you're traveling. That can be literally part of the adventure, part of the amusement park entertainment that you enjoy. Next up, tip number 6 is optimize for travel activities that are fitness endeavors in disguise. So, this would include things like walking tours, bike tours, hiking, kayaking, paddleboarding, surfing, swimming, and anything that gets your body moving. So, my wife and I, we actually went axe throwing. No joke. We randomly went by this place that had axe throwing with targets and everything, and we just had a total freaking ball throwing axes. And we got it all recorded, and we'll share it in our social media at some point. But for now, forever into the future, I'm never ever going to forget my second year anniversary where me and my wife went axe throwing. And even the next day, my wife was like, God, my like muscle in my arm is really sore and I don't know why. And I was like, babe, it's because we're throwing axes and you don't normally throw axes around. And she was like, oh yeah, you're right. And fortunately I was not sore because I actually use clubs, weighted clubs, and I do a lot of kind of like movement that is similar to axe throwing. I don't actually throw the clubs because I don't want to injure anybody at the gym, but clubs are another awesome fitness tool that I've recently got into, but that's kind of a side tangent there. So, number 6 is optimize your travel for activities that are fitness endeavors in disguise. And there's tons. Like you can go bungee jumping, skydiving, whatever floats your boat. There's so many things. You ATV, four-wheelers, all that fun stuff. So really great way to make your vacation support your fitness, but also create incredible happiness dividends that will come for many, many years as you reflect on those super crazy fun activities like axe throwing that you did. The next tip is what I would call an advanced strategy. So I actually bring my Withings body scale. So this is a body scale that measures my body weight, my body fat, and even my muscle mass. And this might seem a little bit crazy, but I am an extremist and I've realized that it is really easy to just bring my body scale with me. I'll put a link in the show notes. So if you guys want to get the same body scale that I've been using for over 9 years at this point to stay sub 10% body fat for 9+ years, literally year round, I've stayed under 10% body fat. That isn't to impress you, that's to impress upon you what is possible when you proactively design your fit rich life. So, what gets measured gets managed and manifested and ultimately empowered. So, what gets measured gets managed, empowered, and manifested. So, one of my key strategies overall is just measuring my body fat every single day. Now, for some people, the Withings scale is incredibly accurate. It's actually, for me, it is usually within 1% accuracy of a DEXA scan, which is arguably the most accurate way to measure your body fat. And so for me, it works great. But even if it's not giving you the correct reading compared to a DEXA scan, the Withings scale is great because all you really want to see is which way the trend line is going for both your body fat, your muscle mass, and your body weight. So for me, my goal is to stay sub 10% year round. And I measure that every day. So as I start to see myself tracking up towards 10%, then I know I need to kind of dial in my nutrition and make sure that I'm, doing the appropriate amount of training. So I will literally just toss this thing in my suitcase. I'll just wrap it in a towel, put in a suitcase with all my clothes, and I've traveled all over the freaking world with my withing scale. And then when I get to the Airbnb, I just connect it to the Wi-Fi there, and it wirelessly syncs with my phone. And I've been tracking my data around my body fat, muscle mass, and body weight for the last 9 years. And this allows me to kind of check myself before I go completely off the rails while traveling. So if I notice I'm like overindulging and my body weight is starting to come up too quickly, or my body fat starting to move up too quickly, I can kind of tailor it back before, multiple days or multiple weeks. Like if you're on vacation for say 2 weeks and you're not checking your body fat, you could easily put on 3, 4, 5, 7, 10 plus pounds, no problem, in a trip. If you're just being a total glutton, not exercising, eating, overindulging on food and alcohol, and you can really destroy all the work that you've been working so hard for when it comes to your fitness. So, um, again, this is advanced strategy. Not everyone's going to bring their freaking body scale on their trip, but like I said, I've taken it to Mexico. I've taken it literally all over the freaking world, and it works for me. So just an idea for you. Even if you don't travel with it, it is definitely worth the investment. So what gets measured gets managed, empowered, and manifested. And if you want to have a lean, muscular physique, having a low body fat percentage is the key to that. For men, that is usually sub 10%. Some men like carry body fat in different places in their body. For example, one of my good friends, he carries very little body fat over his stomach. So he can be at like 11, 12, or even 13% body fat, and his stomach looks shredded. Whereas me, if I'm at 11, 12, or 13%, I don't got any abs. I really have to be under 10% to have that six pack look. And for me, kind of my ideal body fat percentage, where I feel like I just look really great on camera, is around 7, 8%. So I tend to kind of stay around 7 to 9% most of the year. And then occasionally I'll bump up to around 10 if I'm doing like a lean bulk, or just kind of like letting myself take a bit of a rest. And then when it's time to be on camera or get shredded for spring or summer, it's back down to 7 to 9%. So I remember people telling me before, this is a side tangent, that you can't be sub 10% body fat year round. It's unhealthy. Well, I'm here to tell you that is a limiting belief and a crock of shit, because I've been sub 10% for 9+ years. I've recently got my blood work done and my health markers are super good. I'm also 41 years old, fully plant-based, as most of you know by this point, if you've been listening to this show for a long time. And yeah, I have tons of energy, great sex drive, and I've been sub 10% for 9+ years. So that's a limiting belief. And, you don't have to take it on. If you believe that you can be sub 10% body fat year round as a man and be healthy, you probably can. So always, of course, this is not professional medical advice. So check with your doctor about this. For women, body fat is a little bit different. I think somewhere, and I could be wrong on this, around 18 to 22%. As a woman, you're going to be looking super freaking fit. I think you can go a little bit lower under that if you're like competing. I think you can go as low as like 13 to 15%. And I mean, if you're a woman and competing in bodybuilding shows. Now, don't quote me on this. I'm much more familiar with men. Men who are competing in shows usually will get under 5% body fat, well under 5% body fat. And that I don't think is healthy to necessarily maintain year round for multiple years. But I think you can easily, as a man, kind of depending on your body and your overall health, you can maintain somewhere around 7 to 10% year round and be in great health. So that number 7 is bring your body scale with you. That's an advanced tip. So number 8 is also an advanced tip and may not be for everybody, but I'm going to share it because it's what I do. So I actually bring my food scales or my food scale for the Airbnb hotel kitchen. So when I'm cooking at home or at the Airbnb or hotel kitchen, I am measuring out my food and tracking it all perfectly, because what I'm doing is I'm constantly honing my ability to understand what amount of calories I'm eating in any given day. So that way when I eat out, I can easily guesstimate what I'm eating and combine a bit of trained tracking expertise with intuitive eating. So that way, when I eat out, I can kind of just like estimate, okay, that's probably about X amount of calories, or there's, this much rice and this much tofu and this much tempeh. And I can just track that and kind of make sure that I'm dialing in my nutrition to optimize my physique. So again, I don't bring the food scale to the restaurant or anything like that. But when I am cooking at the Airbnb or the hotel, I am measuring everything out and tracking to the gram. Now, I see this as a practice, as a way to be mindful about my eating. And for me, I actually love it. And it was one of those things where, I brush my teeth every day and it makes my teeth nice and clean and healthy and white. And tracking my food each and every day empowers me to easily stay well under sub 10% body fat year round and eat out at restaurants once or twice a week during a normal week, and eat literally everything I want. There's no restrictions on the type of food that I eat. I am plant-based and vegan by ethical choice. So I enjoy all the vegan junk food, the ice cream, and the vegan treats, in moderation. Of course, I follow a an 80-20 rule. So 80% of the food I eat is whole food, plant based, and 20% is still vegan, but it's like processed stuff like protein bars, protein powder, vegan treats, vegan ice cream, vegan desserts, all that good stuff. So that number 8 is bring a food scale, is another advanced strategy that you can choose to incorporate if you want to be a little bit more advanced and extreme like me. And no worries if not. So those 8 tips, tools, and strategies you can use on your next trip to take your fitness to the next level. So I used these strategies in my most recent 2-year anniversary trip to San Luis Obispo, and I maintained 8 to 9% body fat the entire time. Came home this morning, still right around 9%. I improved my fitness. I ate out at plenty of delicious restaurants. Actually, I'll tell you as a little bonus, my 2 favorite restaurants that I visited. One was Bliss Cafe in San Luis Obispo, the city of San Luis Obispo. It was delicious. It's called Bliss Cafe. And the other incredible restaurant that we just had yesterday, and this was where I did the OMAD, literally we ordered 4 entrees, was Shine Cafe in Morro Bay. That was Shine Cafe in Morro Bay. You can find them on Instagram, you can find them online, but super delicious vegan plant-based restaurants, really cool vibes. The one in Bliss Cafe in San Luis Obispo had this beautiful outdoor back patio area that overlooked this little stream or creek, and it was just super magical. And then the one in Morro Bay, Shine Cafe, was just this really cool, like funky, hippie, hipster like spot. And it was just awesome. And then after the one in Morro Bay, we went out and saw Morro Rock. And Morro Rock is this like epic, crazy, big, powerful rock. So highly recommend you check out those restaurants as well as check out these cities. They're a great place to vacation, travel, or maybe even go on an anniversary vacation. So that is it for the episode today. A couple reminders for you. So if you have not left a 5-star review and subscribed and followed to the podcast, if you would take literally 1 minute or less and do that for me, it would mean the world to me, because that is what helps this show grow, is the ratings on Spotify, Apple, and the subscriptions, likes, and comments on YouTube. So do me a huge favor. If you found any value, even one small thing that made your life more fit, more rich, and added more life to your life, go leave me a 5-star review on Spotify and Apple, and like and subscribe on YouTube. That would just really help this show grow and help more people proactively design and build their unique, fit, rich life. So please go do that. Secondly, as most of you know by this point, I also share a newsletter every single week, a short, actionable newsletter that literally takes only 2 to 5 minutes to read, and it will prime you to take your fitness, money, and life to the next level. It goes out every single Sunday and is really just designed to help you move the needle forward with your fitness, money, and life. So that's tips, tools, and strategies to alchemize your fitness, money, and life to the next level. And to get the next newsletter, you can go to fitrichlife.com/newsletter and sign up. No spam ever. It's free. And if you decide you don't like it, it's super easy to unsubscribe. So there are thousands of readers already enjoying the Fit Rich Life newsletter and utilizing the tips, tricks, tools, and strategies to take their fitness, money, and life to the next level. So if you want to join thousands of people who are building their fit rich life, go ahead and sign up at fitrichlife.com/newsletter. So yeah, that is pretty much it. Oh, one last thing. If you are interested in working with me personally or my Fit Rich Life coaching team, we are open to a few new clients. So I have a game-changing fitness, money, and life coaching program called Fit Rich Life Coaching, where we really will empower you to radically transform your fitness, get the body of your dreams, master your money, and start living your best life now. So if you're interested in working with me or one of the Fit Rich Life coaches, this is above and beyond the newsletter. The newsletter is a great free place to start. The podcast is a great free resource. But if you're ready to invest in yourself, which is the best investment that you can make, consider checking out my coaching program. So you can drop me a note on Instagram. That's Justin David Carl, and just say coaching, and we can talk about the program and see if it would be a good fit for you. Because of course, I want to work with people that are a good fit for the program and that we're a good fit for them. You can message me on Instagram at Justin David Carl, send me the note coaching, or you can just go to fitrichlifecoaching.com and book your free consultation today. So thank you, everybody, so much for listening. If you made it this far to the end credits or ad sponsors or notifications or updates for all of you, I really appreciate you listening. Thank you so much. I get so much joy and satisfaction about all the comments and messages and emails that I get about the show and how it's transforming your life. So don't be shy. Drop me a note anywhere on the socials. I'm most active right now on Instagram and the new social media platform Threads, also by Meta. So just really active on both social media platforms of Threads and Instagram. So don't be shy. Come say hello. Let me know what's been helping you. Let me know if there's any guests that you want me to have on the show. You know, I'm always looking for people to bring on the show that are going to empower us to build and live our fit, rich life. So that's it for now. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and have an absolute fantastic day.